Welcome to another great episode of Game. If you haven't already, be sure to email us at gameshowchat@gmail.com. You can also follow us on Twitter at gameshowchat, and you can also be sure to subscribe to the show on YouTube, and you can also follow us on Facebook. Today, we have a great topic. We're going to be talking about whatever happened to Nintendo. So here I have GQ with me. I have my man, the great Dadakuchi. Game on.
Well,
Nintendo.
Go right ahead. You can start
Nintendo.
off.
Whatever happened to Nintendo? You know, Nintendo is one of the reasons why I like video games to this day. It started off kind of with Atari, but it kind of sank in with Super Mario Brothers that made me really like. Right now, I'm not a Nintendo fan. Nintendo always have a special place in my heart, but they're not what the company they used to be. They don't come out with anything original at all. They keep coming out with these systems that are really, really half-assed compared to everybody else. Everybody else pumping out the stuff, and they're putting, oh, let's just put in last generation's graphics, and they can't come up with any new ideas to get people in. They want young kids. I guess young kids, that's all they care about, young kids. What about the people who were young kids and that grew up? Come on, Nintendo, what's the deal?
I have a question.
Okay.
So do you guys think that they might have stuck with cartridges for too long when everybody else was going to disc?
I think sticking with cartridges for so long did hurt them. I mean, Nintendo's been around a lot longer than people realize. And Nintendo actually started back in 1889. So it's a over, 100-year-old company. Started as a card company. Then they went on and became like a cab company. They even dabbled in the brothel business, believe it or not, the love hotels over in Japan. So, I mean, Nintendo has done it all, literally. But, they kind of, they found their real step when they brought out their video game system. But the problem is, Nintendo was like the mafia back in the day when their system, the Nintendo Seal of Quality, if you had the Nintendo Seal of Quality on your cartridge, that was a good game in most cases. Some of the Schwarzenegger titles like Total Recall and Terminator notwithstanding, but if the Nintendo Seal of Quality meant that you were getting a good game, and Nintendo had a chokehold on all of their third-party developers, they were like, look, you're going to do it our way or you're not going to do it, basically. And so Nintendo, like I said, was like the mob back then. The problem is Nintendo falls into a tradition pattern. They had the cartridges. You had to get the cartridges from Nintendo originally. Now all of a sudden it's like, okay, well people can manufacture their own cartridges or whatever, but we still want to go cartridge. And they went cartridge-based for 3 systems in a row. By the time the Nintendo 64 had come out though, the Sega CD and some of the other CD systems are kind of on the market. And they're like, look, you can have a lot more information, full motion video, as they used to call it back in the day, and all that other thing with like Sewer Shark and the Night Trap on Sega CD. So you had Nintendo sitting there with, the old cartridges that couldn't do it. You only had so much space on the cartridge. Right. I mean, the cartridge, would only hold so much data, and that was kind of the end of it. And Nintendo kind of sat on that for too long, I think, because when they had an opportunity when they were going to partner with Sony, and of course we already know where that went. The PlayStation came out and blew them out of the water.
Yeah. I was going to say, I truly believe though, if the Nintendo 64 was CD based, the PlayStation would not have taken off because Final Fantasy would have been on the Nintendo system, and more Nintendo system would have been bought.
Well, the PlayStation probably wouldn't have even existed at that point because they would have been like, we got a good thing going with Nintendo, let's stick with them.
Mm-hmm. So, not saying that they've completely fallen off, but would you guys say that the beginning of that was with the Virtual Boy?
The Virtual Boy
was a mistake.
All right, the Virtual Boy, I ain't gonna lie, I have one just out of the nostalgia of having one because I was like, I picked it up for $14 when it originally was a $180, piece of hardware.
I mean, that's a good find.
It was a dumb thing though because it was supposed to be a portable virtual reality system, yet and still you had this tabletop thing that you had to sit up with like little legs and you had to put your face in it. And it's like, hold on, now you're blocking it all off. I'm only seeing red. I'm getting a headache after 5 minutes. And you wanted me to pay $180 for this, plus $35, $40 per cartridge. So, and the games themselves weren't even all that advanced. The 3D was crap because again, 3D wasn't 3D back then. You didn't really have a true 3D experience on any of the game consoles because that was just too early for the technology.
I'm gonna tell you when Nintendo fell off, and it was recently. It was with the Wii. They brought out that Wii, the Nintendo Seal of Approval, which you talk about so much. It was done to make sure that they had quality games. Even though the Nintendo, Super Nintendo, you can have bad games regardless. But the Wii is notorious for shovelware.
Shovelware.
If you want to come out with a, let's put it on there. Put it on. Crap. Left and right.
So they open the floodgates.
Big time open the floodgates, and they thought just more software would equal more sales, would equal, and we sold real well. You believe it or not, hard to say it sold more than the PlayStation 3 and the Xbox 360.
Yeah, no, from what I understand,
crap.
I mean, the sales numbers on the Wii was almost 100 million systems sold worldwide. That's insane. That's that system is $200 basically at the base price, so that's an insane amount of money that they were making on that system. Problem is, the Wii U showed up, and it was like, do you really need the Wii U? What is the Wii U? Why didn't you just call it something completely separate from Wii? So I'm not thinking that I'm just getting a Wii upgrade instead of and then not only that, they're still behind the times, like you said. The system only has an 8 gig drive or a 32 gig drive. My phone has more memory than this thing. So I mean, it's like, this is ridiculous. And you expect me to pay, what was it, $250?
Oh, yeah, $350 for the 32 one, if I remember correctly.
Right.
And yeah, what are you getting but an upgraded Wii? It has graphics of the PlayStation 3 and Xbox 360, and it's coming out and it's supposed to be next generation. Xbox 360, or whatever they're gonna call it, the sequel to the Xbox 360 and the PlayStation 4 are gonna have graphics that are gonna blow away anything that Wii U can do.
Okay, so piggybacking off both of your points in regards to the mob mentality and then them having all the shovelware, because is it safe to say that once they lost Rare, that kind of Rare made some of their best games.
Rare did come out with some of the original games. They had, they had the GoldenEye series. They had Killer Instinct, which when it came out was a phenomenal fighting game.
And Perfect Dark.
And Perfect Dark, which was a pseudo sequel to to GoldenEye. Rare, they lost Rare. Rare lost Nintendo, and Rare lost it. They don't know how to really make games anymore.
So Rare lost their mind.
They lost their
Rare lost it when they made Grab by the Ghoulies.
Yeah, and that's what I was getting at. Grab by the Ghoulies. I mean, they could go back in their back catalog and bring us some Battletoads or something like that, but they don't. What has Rare done lately? So I mean, they haven't really done anything worthy of talking about, in my honest opinion. So, I mean, when it comes to Nintendo, Nintendo's keeping themselves afloat with Mario, Link, the Zelda series, and Metroid and Pokemon. That's basically what's keeping them afloat. Nintendo right now, to me, if they were to go software like how Sega did, I think they would probably be a little bit better. I'm starting to get sick of having so many, video game systems.
Well, I think Nintendo's problem is they relied on Mario a little too much.
Still do.
Yeah.
Yeah, they still rely on them. You got Mario Party, what are we up to, 8, 9, 10 or something?
I have no idea.
Right now? I mean, and it's pretty much the same game. You just keep throwing a couple new characters in here and there. Just to even put it into perspective on the Wii, as far as why I think the Wii U was a failure, the Wii sold pretty much every Wii that it could, like when the Wii came out, you couldn't even get the thing. 2 Christmases in a row, you could not find this system. You just had to be lucky, get lucky, walk into a store, and exactly, or eBay it or something crazy. The Wii U came out, they sold everyone first week, fine. 2 months later, they are down to 50,000 units. The Wii, when it came out, was 435,000 units sold within the 2 months after that system came out. The Wii U is a failure.
Oh yeah.
Period.
It's looking at it as going to be a big time failure. Nintendo, they need to step up something. They need to refresh their ideas big time, because they are still, in my honest opinion, they're doing exactly the same thing they were doing with the NES. And the NES, though it was a great system that moved on to the Super Nintendo, you have to change. You have to do something to keep yourself fresh.
Oh, yeah, well, and speaking of fresh, we're gonna have to end this one, but you guys can definitely keep the chat going on at home. And if you have any questions or anything like that, by all means, email us at gameshowchat@gmail.com. Hit us up on Twitter at gameshowchat. And be sure to subscribe to us on YouTube and follow us on Facebook. Game over.
It's me, Mario!